Learn how you can quickly scale and increase your business lead sales and profits using paid traffic.
You're listening to Cast Hub with Mike Midgley and Damian Qualter.
Hey, and welcome to episode 6 of the Cast Hub. It's great to be on the show, and this week we're going to talk everything about paid traffic and the conundrum that sits around, getting those traffic, fill those funnels through various mediums. And I'm really excited to be joined today by Damian Qualter. Damian's our lead paid traffic consultant, and I'll tell you a little bit more about Damian in a moment or two. But Damian, how's it doing today? Are you having a good week?
I'm having a fantastic week. Thanks a lot for inviting me on the podcast. I've got quite a lot of stuff I want to get through today. So, it's for all levels. I want to give some great tips and stuff that people who avoid things which can cost a lot of money and time. So got a lot of notes here to make. So I just warn people, get the pens and pads ready, and there's going to be some great content today.
Fabulous. Well, I really appreciate you joining us on the show, Damian. I know the work that you do is stunning, and certainly, guys, and for the audience and for the entrepreneurs and the young entrepreneurs out there, paid traffic is something that, I'm sure Damian will talk about later on, about where people have a goal themselves, but the amount of time, effort, money they're wasting. So the dynamite content that you're going to get on this show is going to be phenomenal. Damian's one of the lead paid traffic people in, not only in the UK, but he works extensively in the States. Damian's also a qualified Infusionsoft certified partner. He's a certified partner for Bing and Google. Concentrates heavily on SEO and paid traffic strategies, and really works and helps to entrepreneurs to deliver powerful and distinctive online paid campaigns that generate leads. A bit of background, Damian. I hope I'm not going to embarrass you and show you your age here, buddy, but over a 23 year career, many great achievements. He built a
Started very young, Mike. Started very, very young.
Yeah, 17 again, but overall, built a multi-million-pound property portfolio. Done over 3 or 4 six-figure launches. He's the author of 3 best-selling books, and he also holds an MBA at Manchester Business School as well. So we're not dealing with the usual run-of-the-mill type of people who talk about paid traffic. We're talking about somebody who understands business, somebody who understands the digital marketing space, and with his consultancy, and has even held positions on PLC executive boards. So welcome to the show, Damian. Is that a fair reflection, or is that embarrassing you too much? Hopefully not.
I'm blushing. I've got a lot to live up to, Mike, haven't I?
Absolutely. We're setting the standards.
No pressure. Pressure.
So what was the most fulfilling part of the career then, Damian? Was it the MBA? Was it the launches? Was it, becoming Infusion? So, talk to me a little bit about what, before we get onto the interview and paid traffic, what's the most fulfilling part of your career?
I think that was the break from being in a corporate job. I had a very good corporate job. Textile industry was my first sort of career when I left university. Always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. I suppose, like a lot of people, get caught up in corporate world, good pay, good salary, don't want to break away. And unfortunately, I was given a chance to work on my own, and that was the big breakthrough going forward. Yeah. And I've never looked back, really. I've been doing it a long time now with myself. Probably totally unemployable now. But
you've gone from the light side to the dark side of unemployment, so you have to be an entrepreneur type of thing.
That's it. Not many jobs we can sit around as scruffy as I am in my.
Absolutely, and we'll get you in the uniform shirt soon. So, guys, that's it. For the entrepreneurs listening on the show, Damian's a cracking fellow as well. He's a great guy, and he's available to successful clients as well. Both on paid and consultative type services. But outside of that, I think the biggest sort of area that I really want to sort of focus and start in, because this podcast is all about paid traffic, it's all there. And I think when we work with clients, Damian, as you know, we get them on the whiteboard and we structure them out and do whatever. One of the obvious questions that we get asked at strategic level, or even as we're moving by, as you get involved, is what sort of paid traffic works best for businesses. And if I could open the podcast up with that one, maybe you could share your thoughts, on that question, and give some area, some tips on that area.
It's a great question, that. And I think it's very important for any entrepreneur or business owner to really understand what's going to work for them. And I guess paid traffic can be broken down into two main areas.
Yeah.
That is, there was the search intent, which is platforms like Google. So someone's actively searching for a solution to something. So you've got a broken tap or whatever.
Yeah.
What do? You jump on Google and you search there. Now you've got the other type of traffic, which the sort of hot subject is things like Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook, obviously, fantastic. 1.7 billion people, I think, that currently on it. 1 billion active users. The difference with Facebook, and this is what I think people take a long time to grasp the concept, is you've got to be causing sort of interruptive advertising on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because no one really is searching for your solution on Facebook. It's a social platform, and unless you've got something which will advertise to their particular need, to their interest, to their demographic, whatever it might be, then there's two different platforms.
Absolutely.
Work equally well. Depends on your business model. Now, if you're a plumber, emergency plumber, then you're not really going to do very well on Facebook, really.
Yeah, it's more instant gratification. I need that now type of service. And
yeah.
Just for the audience, because like I say, we have a wide range of listeners, Damian, from just getting started to the more advanced and everything in between. When we talk about interruptive, a typical example, just to put it into something that you may be more familiar with, would be a TV advert. You sat down watching your favourite TV show, and then the advert comes on and somebody says, "Hey, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff." So radio advertising is exactly the same, isn't it, Damian? Where you listen to your favourite song in the car, the adverts come on, and it's like buy my stuff, buy my stuff. So that's what we mean by interruptive marketing or interruptive communications. And Facebook on that is there because you're either spying on somebody or nosing on somebody or researching, having a bit of fun on Facebook, and then if that pops up and pulls your eyeball out, that's what you're talking about with interruptive on Facebook, Damian. Yeah.
Correct. And it's a totally different platform. Again, whatever your business might be. Are you a local business? Are you a regional business? Are you a national business? Are you an international business?
Yeah.
Both platforms, you can get so granular now with paid advertising. So you could target, street addresses, postcodes, whatever. So there's advertising really for any business.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is what type of business are you? Yeah. Are you an emergency thing where a local business where people need you now and they're actively searching for you? And that's not to say you can't use other platforms like Facebook to back that up, into stuff like retargeting, which we'll talk a bit later on in the conversation. But it really depends what the business model is going forward. What is the best platform to start with?
Absolutely. So I think that nice and sort of segues in, Damian, really, that if I'm just getting started, and I'm really novice, and maybe I've got my Google account set up or whatever, is Facebook or Google AdWords better, or is that back to what type of business? Or could you give us an example maybe of where Google may be a better platform than maybe Facebook, or maybe industry sectors, or a couple of examples? So if I am stuck here learning to get started, 2 or 3 examples around which is better, Facebook or AdWords, by sector or by product or price point or something like that.
Sure. I think a really broad thing with Facebook is people are very passionate about things. So if you've got a product where people are passionate, that works very, very well on a social platform. Again, this is just one concept.
Yeah, I understand it's an example only. It's not to be taken as the rule, yeah.
Yeah. So Facebook, for example, you can drill down to things like interests, geographic, demographic, age, sex, location, all these things. You can even drill down a lot further in some of the added categories, the partner categories, in income streams, things like that. Google is as I've mentioned before, is more a search intent platform.
Yeah.
So it's someone looking for a solution there and then.
Yeah.
Whereas Facebook is not necessarily, people are not necessarily searching on Facebook for your solution. So you've got to advertise in a completely different manner.
Yeah, so different stages of the funnel we're talking about there as well, Damien, aren't we? The, you know, Facebook and Google, you know, based on where they're at that moment in time in their need for a service or demand, could be top, middle, or bottom stages of the funnel.
It's correct. So, you know, Facebook works really well where you can target people that there's an active, reasonably sized audience that you can see. And all these platforms, you can do some research before you spend a penny, excuse me. And to see what is available. Google, you can go on to a free tool they have if you've got an AdWords account, so you can see what the landscape is like, how competitive it is for your keywords. So you could do, you know, if I'm an estate agent or a realtor, or as they say in America, in a certain area, you could put some keywords in and it'll bring a load of data saying, you know, there's 2,000 searches a month, it's going to cost you
X
$2
pence or
£2
pounds per click.
You know exactly, you know, what the market is and how competitive it is. You can do the same thing in a different way, in a more indirect way with Facebook. So you could say, if I'm selling, you know, a local dog trainer or something, the internet favorite, you could target by interests, you could target by location, you could target by brands. So, you know, somebody's got a dog, they might be interested in, you know, food brands for dogs, Pedigree, Chum, Win-A-Lot, whatever they might be.
Shameless plug there for the food industry, dog food industry.
I've got the Pedigree t-shirt.
Absolutely.
Or it could be things like experts or authors in that industry. So a big celebrity in the US is it Cesar Millan, who's the dog trainer. You know, people who are interested in that. You
can target it.
In dogs. The beauty of something like Facebook then is you can do what's called layering. So you could say, okay, I want to pick people who are interested in Cesar Millan and potentially interested in Pedigree Chum, so they've expressed an interest. And then you can cross those people over to layer the audience. So you're people.
You're striking them on 2 points, not just one.
Yeah. So the data's a lot more useful, basically.
Yeah,
it's very easy to like a page or something. When you start layering interests, demographics over it, you get a lot more accurate and targeted audience.
That's a phenomenal explanation. And I just want to pick up on a couple of things. For the audience listening, a lot of people will be saying, hey, you know, Mike or Damien, you know, how do they know I'm interested in Cesar Millan? How do they know I'm interested in, you know, David Beckham or a specific football team or whatever it would be? So maybe if you could just touch on that for me. And also, just, I think the second point is just more of a confirmation that you can do, that if you do start to layer it and get multi-validation points, your data set is going to come a lot smaller, of course, isn't it? Because you're narrowing it. You know, instead of sort of being marketing to everybody, you'd be more laser focused. So it's got to make sure that what you're promoting or your service, you know, it's got to be relevant to that audience. Because if you take it down too thin, you're not going to get enough reach. If you take it too wide, you're going to get people inquiring and burning your budgets for, you know, probably things that they're not even interested in. So, you know, just be careful with that. And probably more of a medium to advanced technique to start with, Damien, would you say, that layering, or would you get that out of the gate?
Yeah. So let's use Facebook as an example. I think, you know, if you're like me, which maybe some people are, we tend to have our browsers open all the time, and you know, the statistics with Facebook are, you know, I don't know what they are, something like, you know, people look at Facebook 10, 15 times a day. Generally, they will have that browser open in the background when they're doing other things. What Facebook is doing all the time is almost spying on us, seeing what we're interested in. So it's seeing exactly, you know, do we opt in for this? Do we opt in for that? Are we more clickers? Are we buyers? Are we? So the building up, they've got over 2,000 data entry points. So their algorithm is just becoming, you know, better and better. So all the time they're building up data on you as a user, you know, you computer person. Also, there's obvious actions that you can take as a user. I like, you know, if you like Pedigree Chum or you like whatever, or you're part of a Facebook page or things like that, so you can target that level. But Facebook all the time is picking up information about you, and it knows people are more likely to buy, people more likely to click, people more likely to watch a video.
Yeah.
So it's phenomenally intelligent, and it's getting better all the time.
Yeah, so the intel is, and what we're saying, audience, is that when you're building your Facebook adverts, you're asked, as Damian said earlier, is there a geographical location, or, give me everybody in this 50-mile radius, or this, or whatever it might be, or interesting pedigree term, or whatever it might be. That's collecting data, and it's either something that you've clicked on or something you've stated, like you're following your favourite football team, or you're buying concert tickets off a certain site. Then that's what you're targeting. It's sort of that intelligence that's coming up and building a psychological, demographical and geographical profile of you. So when advertisers are looking to advertise on Facebook, they can start selecting off pre-selected categories that then, I take it, Damian, those adverts are only showing to those people who are interested in that type of product.
Yeah. And as you rightly said before, you can get very general. If you were someone interested in yoga, you could do a very general thing. It wouldn't be a very targeted audience. But then you would layer down, what other things are yoga that, I don't know anything about yoga, but I'm sure there's specialist types of yoga that would be more targeted.
Yeah, and it could be yoga classes in an area, something, couldn't it? Or whatever, or online yoga classes or whatever. Awesome.
And as I said, all this information is readily available. Before you spend a penny, you can look at this data and get a feeling for the market.
So there's no surprises when the bill comes in that, if it's, I mean, there's always a classic example, Damian, this stat might be out of date now, and maybe you can correct me, but I know a lot of the American markets, if you're a DUI, like a driving under the influence, or a drink driving lawyer in LA, the pay-per-click is like $100, $200 a click or something ridiculous. I don't know what it is these days, but if you're selling, some type of abstract or awkward or very low demand product, it might be 10 cents a click. So there's a lot of drink driving cases in LA, so the lawyers are fighting for that market, so it's a high cost, whereas VHS video recorders maybe a lot lower click, if that makes sense. And maybe you could just talk around that a minute or two for us, Damian, and just explain why the platforms like Google and Facebook do charge for different sort of bid prices.
Again, basically, both Google and Facebook have got what we call inventory. So it's and the number of positions they're prepared to sell their ads. So if a lot of people are searching on, let's use Google for example now, DUI lawyers in New York or something, I guess, there's a lot of people probably looking for that problem at any one time. Yeah. So, if there's a lot of people searching on it, and then there's a lot of people advertising on it at the same time, then you cause the classic supply and demand.
Absolutely.
The prices will rise in the market. And it is basically an auction situation. All traffic platforms to a degree are an auction platform. Obviously there's things like relevancy and interaction which play on it, but how much are you willing to pay to get a click or an impression to your website, which you're in control of.
Yeah, which just outside of this podcast, and for any entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs out there listening, understanding the cost of client acquisition and also the cost of client lifetime value. So what's a client worth to you? So you might do product X, but it's likely that they might buy product Y and product Z in the future. We will be doing a podcast and a blog section on client lifetime value and cost of client acquisition. And really, once you get a better understanding of what that client's worth to you, then that helps you define your bid strategy or understanding of your return on investment, Damian. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got businesses are not bottomless pits, and it's not just how much you're willing to pay to get a client. That is the number one thing. When I speak to lots of businesses, they don't have a clue of that metric.
Yeah.
And it's difficult if you're a new business because you've probably never done it before.
Yeah, and there's other things going off as well that you think's more important.
Yeah. It's difficult, but you've got to get a handle on those numbers pretty quick. The other thing which is really important to get a handle on is cash flow. Yeah. If you're a business with a long time to turn your lead into a paying customer, you've got to factor that into account.
Absolutely.
If it's something it's taking 7 days, then you're spending £100 a day. turn around in 7 days, you potentially 700 quid you've invested in paid traffic before you get a return.
Absolutely.
In some of the industries, I've operated, some of my clients operate, that could be 2 or 3 months. They're in very high things like property investment, things like real estate, but the payoff is very big. So they know their numbers and they're willing to spend a couple.
You know where the break comes in. So I think that's a great way and a great segue, Damian, to sort of start. And again, I always try and base these podcasts, at a lower level of knowledge so we don't exclude, the people getting started. And, we'll make reference points to more advanced strategies and medium strategies. But if I am starting out on paid traffic, David, what type of budget do I need to get started either on Google or Facebook? Okay.
Great questions. Probably one of the questions I get asked all the time. Again, let's just use an example of Facebook, for example. With Facebook, you could literally get started for $1 a day. So smaller budgets if you do promoted posts. So you don't need a big budget. And I think the paid traffic industry has frightened a lot of businesses off because they've got this thought that they're going to start advertising, then in a week's time they'll look at the credit card statement and all the money's been sucked out of the bank account.
Yes, it's hoovered out.
You're in control, an advertiser, to put whatever you want to spend on a daily, monthly, whatever way you want to do it, a budget. So if I want to spend $5 a day, £5 a day, that's it. Facebook, Google, they're both the same, will not spend more than that. So you're in control.
So when you burn your budget, basically your adverts just stop showing. Is that what we're saying?
Correct. Yeah. What you do get though, that the more you can actually spend on a budget at the outset, the quicker you get data. So if, for example, you're advertising on Facebook, you might want to test 2 or 3 variables of an ad.
Yes.
On a very simple basis, you've got ad A, ad B, and ad C. So if you only had $5, it'd be very difficult and take longer to get meaningful data. So the more money you spend, the quicker you will get data. And
so
that
so what we're saying for the audience is here, it's a term that you may or may not see banded around called split testing, and obviously getting your analytics to get that ready. So you don't want to put all your budget behind one particular advert, because if that headline's wrong or the image is just slightly out of connection to your marketplace, maybe you've just not got something right, because what you think might be right, even with as much research and keyword analysis, you just might be off point. So putting 2 or 3 adverts out there, getting some analytics behind that, as Damian's saying, putting a little bit of stronger budget to start with just to get it moving, like pushing that rock. It's harder to get that rock moving than it is to keep it going. And then, after, maybe Damian, you can share with us in a moment or two about the time before you'd sort of optimize that. But once we've got that data, then look and see what's working and what's not. And then if one's just absolutely getting clicks but no conversion, then you can scrap that one, and then we can pile the budget into the other 2 or a combination of. But what's the average optimization time, Damian? You push it out Google or Facebook or whatever, before you would sort of say, right, I'm going to bring the curtain down and I'm going to look at the data before I maybe go and invest a ton of more money into which is working or not.
It's a great question. I would always let ads run for 72 hours before doing anything. So you literally let them get out there. Google's algorithm is sort of doing its work, and then review them after 72 hours. What you're going to tend to find with something like Facebook is it's the old 80-20 rule. 20% of your ads are going to bring 80% of your revenue in. So it's a case of failing fast, as people say, in a positive way. So, you can and the beauty of online advertising, paid advertising, is you can so quickly see what's working and what's not.
Brilliant.
Go back 40, 50 years to direct mail or something like that. You might be months before you're doing it. So you can test with very small budgets, get some meaningful data, and then say, okay, this ad's not going to work. The other ad, the other targeting or the other audience or whatever it might be is working really well. So we'll stop what's not working, shift that budget into what is working, and then we'll optimize again. So it's a continuous process of improvement.
Yeah, so just hold it there for a minute, Damian, for the audience. And I always sort of stop sort of the clock when something fundamentally is worth repeating, Damian. What you just said there, and I think the audience, if Damian mentioned to get that pad and pen out, get scribbling these notes down. Online advertising is instantaneous. It's digital. It's on or it's off. You can put it out there. You can see what's working. You can cap your budgets, and more than anything, you can chop and change. You're not having to, like you say, go to a printing press or a publishing house and then publish it. Spend £1,000 on a full page advert to find out that nobody inquired or whatever. So, Damien, just recover again for us. Just repeat again about the online advertising being instantaneous and how you can analyse, change, chop, and correct quickly. And I think it's the speed and automation I'd really want the audience to get a feel of.
Okay. So basically with Facebook, Google, whatever it is, you can set up little things on your site which are called pixels, which are just basically tracking codes, which sit in the background. You don't see them, but they're building up data. Yeah. So you can see very, very quickly when you log into your analytics, which if you're advertising, you want to track and measure everything. Yeah. Very, very key. It's again, that's a big fundamental thing we'll touch back maybe later in the interview. Yeah. But it's so important that you track what's happening. With say, if you were an online business selling, I don't know, a course online, then you can very easily track when someone has gone through your shopping cart, bought the product and gone to your thank you page. Yeah. That would trigger what we call a conversion. Yeah. We can do the same thing with people opting into a list. If it's just opt-ins we're trying to get, so we can track conversions very, very quickly. In the offline world, that's much more difficult to do. So you can have that data instantaneous. It's real time, virtually, bar a small lag. You can get the data, analyze it, and chop and change very quickly from meaningful, real data.
Yeah, it's factual data. It's not opinion. There's no advertising sales rep going to say, hey, you should be doing this or say you're doing that. No. You can see what's working. Is it sticking at the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel? Damian's just there covering things like, understand your goals with it. You're trying to grow your email list, so retarget. So, opting in and everybody hits your thank you for opting in page, gets it classed as a conversion. And then that's, a stat in the bank that we know that landing page or that lead magnet or that ebook's working for you. The word pixel is, is something for the people who are just getting started. It's a piece of code that, Facebook or Google will provide you in the analytics dashboard. You put it onto your website or your landing page or wherever you add, and then your conversion goes, and it's going to basically walk through the audience and for the steps that they've taken, a bit like footprints in the snow. Damien would be a typical example. Correct, that hey, I've stepped into the snow and taken 3 steps, then I've stopped, so I didn't take that next step, and then I suppose a bit more of an advanced strategy, Damien, you can then start talking about things like full funnel retargeting, where you sort of say, if they do this, show them this advert, and if they don't do that, show them a different advert.
And this is where it gets really exciting, I think, with paid traffic. Absolutely. I think most small businesses, it is a way to generate leads, which ultimately will go to sales. And that's not to say that's what we were trying to do, but you're missing out on such a huge opportunity if you're not doing things either between the point where they opt in to before they become a customer, and most businesses you speak to actually neglect the people who actually become customers. Absolutely. So to give you an example of that, if you were doing full funnel retargeting, let's say, I think a lot of people are aware of, say, a product launch formula, for example. The typical product launch where you show a series of 2 or 3 videos over a week, and then you go into the shop, the cart's open after a week. So most people will traditionally rely on email to get their message across. Okay. Now, if you're doing well with email, you're probably getting 20%, 30% of people actually opening your emails. Which that's a good statistic. Absolutely. If you're topping that on where at the same time you're triggering an ad to show, say a Facebook ad to show at the same time when video 1 goes live, so potentially another 30-40% of people can see the ad Facebook ad show as well as the email, then you've just immediately captured double the audience.
Absolutely. So it's more bang for your buck. And the thing, you know, and if we just rewind that up and put it into a stepped basis, Damian, just for the audio, you know, what Damian's saying there is, you know, whether you understand the PLF, the Jeff Walker product launch formula or not, that if you're pushing a promotion out there that says, hey, day 1, I'm going to send an email or a video out, day 2, I'm going to do this, or day 5 or day 10, as you launch, you're emailing out 18, 20, 21%, 25%, 30% open rates. That means 60, 70, 80% aren't opening those emails, so you're missing it. So what Damian's saying is, if you match a Facebook or whatever type of ad at the same time as that email. So if I watch video 1 and then, you know, I'm ready to be consuming for video 2, and I'm waiting for video 2 to come out, let's say in a week's time, or let's say 3 days time, you want to stop showing me the advert to say, hey, watch video 1, hey, watch video 1, because I've already watched it. So what full funnel retargeting is going to do is, once you've watched that video, and then we know you've watched it because we've got the conversion pixel on there, it's then going to start showing you a different ad to start building up the excitement and anticipation ahead of video 2 coming out in 3 days. And then if you don't watch it, it's going to retarget you to say, hey, don't forget to watch this. So it's the right message at the right time, and supportive and congruent marketing, emails stacked on top of social media adverts, and like I say, your reach. And what we mean by reach is, you know, obviously how many people we're getting that message in front of is just going to be significantly higher, which people see more, there's better option, you know, a better option for people, or a better result for people to click through, Damian, and either watch the video, make the sale, or be educated towards your purchase. And, you know, so think about it in stages. I release content 1, I send an email, I show I show Facebook ad 1. I send content 2, I show Facebook, you know, ad 2, and then same on email 3 or video 3 and Facebook ad 3. So the advert is relevant to the stage that they're in the sales funnel or the marketing funnel.
Yeah, and you know, again, the big thing where I think most businesses miss out is the customer journey. Once someone's opted in, then they're just relying on email. You know, which, you know, everyone thinks email's free. Well, it is and it isn't, but that's another story for probably for another.
We could do a documentary on email marketing.
Yeah, it's the thing as well when you know, as people, when they've actually got a paying customer, then it's you know, how you ascend that customer up.
Yeah.
Once they bought your, you know, let's say it's a $97 or £97 product, then you can start retargeting with other offers.
Yeah.
Because they're in your funnel now, so you've got control of showing them what message at what time you want to show it based.
Yeah, and based on what products that they've purchased.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That also then comes back into frequency, and you know, part of the building that, you know, client lifetime value we talked earlier about. You know, we don't just sell them one product to say thank you very much. You know, most companies, if not all, have got a range of products or services. Now, some may be just poles apart, like a retail or a trade counter, but a lot of them are, you know, relative. So, you know, I use in the construction industry heavy. You know, somebody buying a boiler on the wall, then wouldn't it make a lot of sense to retarget them and say, hey, we'll sell you a service package to come and service that boiler every 6 or 12 months. But you know, a lot of people miss that, and you know, it's not as if you're saying, hey, I've sold you a boiler, can I now sell you an iPad? You know, where there's no connection, but which you do get some crazy things out there. But you know, you're selling, hey, I've bought a boiler, I want to buy a service contract. That makes sense. The warranty's running out, you're going to be exposed, you could be left. I know it's reasonably new, but hey, preventative maintenance is better than corrective maintenance when it breaks down. Let's sell you a service pack, and for £10 or £20 a month we can do that. So that's the type of retargeting and the upselling that you're talking about once you're going from there. Fantastic.
Perfect. Yep.
So we talked earlier about the type of businesses, Damian, that, you know, paid app traffic's not good for. So emergency services, you know, if you've got water piling through your ceiling and, you know, and it's middle of the night, you need a 24-hour plumber, then, you know, Facebook's not really necessarily that. That's more search intent with Google or whatever. But what sort of businesses does paid traffic generally not work for, Damian? If you could just sort of give us an overview on that.
Yeah, I think in my experience, if you've got a low dollar or a low ticket item without any other products in your funnel, then it's going to be quite difficult for you to make paid traffic work.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. You know, let's say you're selling a $10 ebook.
Yeah.
Say, you know, clicks are 50 cents on Facebook.
Yeah.
that means, to generate one sale, you've got to convert, I don't know, 20%, 5%, haven't you, to convert, to get that, to get a break even. Now that's probably an over ambitious figure. You probably might be converting at 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with low ticket items. I love them. I think they're great. But if you've got nothing behind it, a funnel of a natural progression, then it's going to be very difficult for you to make paid traffic pay. Yeah. The other thing is obviously with the internet marketing niches, how quickly you can build that customer value up.
Yeah.
So if you can, if you've got 1 or 2 upsells, things like that, which people, buy the $10 product, then there's a $97 upsell, then there's a $497 upsell and a continuity. Obviously that they're going to be related and in line with the original product. But you could go from being a $10 purchase at point of sale to, let's say $100 on average purchase. So you could, literally outmarket your competitors if they've only got a $10 product.
Yeah.
So that's, very.
So we're talking about liquidating the cost of the paid traffic through maybe the first purchase, Damian. And what we mean by that is like what Damian's example, you got a $10 ebook or $10 video 3-series course or something along that line. And your paid traffic budget goes to a certain level and you get one sale, you're sort of washing out there. There's no further sale, you're at break even or loss or maybe a very nominal profit at best. But being able to then say, hey, people who bought this also already bought that, or you can improve your results faster, quicker with speeder automation by going to the next level and buying this £97 or dollar product. The cost to acquire that customer, what Damian's covering there in a lot of detail, is the cost to acquire that customer has already been made in that original paid traffic budget. So, the rest of that client lifetime value and that product purchase outside of the cost to deliver the product is straight to the bottom line through the grate, isn't it, to profit?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and this is not a new phenomenon. It's the McDonald's, extra fries or supersize. It's at that point of sale, you can double, triple that customer value very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And that works brilliantly with automation and funnels and systems and stuff like that. So
just slightly off topic, Damian, but I think it's relative for the audience to understand this. Whilst and thanks ever so much, Damian. It's some absolute gold and diamond nuggets that we're sharing here, and don't only take notes, but play this podcast back. If you want the resources, you can jump over to blog.thesuccesshub.uk. We're going to give the transcript to this, so you can read this back. You can download the app in the Google Play or the App Store if you're listening to this podcast online, and just listen to it back and get better value. And I think, just off topic, but I think worth mentioning, like anything in digital marketing, you need a strategy behind this, guys. People say, hey, isn't expensive to have a paid traffic manager? Well, I'm not saying it's expensive. It's value for what you pay, but it's far more cost effective to have professional paid traffic management in place than it is to go out there, jumping off cliffs with blindfolds on, hoping that it's a 6-foot drop instead of a 600-foot drop. Because burning on paid traffic, if you don't quite sure how to get the strategy, you're not quite sure how to get the budget set up, you're not quite sure what adverts work, you can be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months down the road picking up 500,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 pound bills if you set it that high or lower, £1,000 a month, and then you could get nothing for it. So getting that strategy behind it, looking at what your sector is, what your niche is, what your goals are, what your objectives are, having a professional to be able to guide you through that process is fundamental. And the money that you would invest in that and any ongoing management fees, if any of you guys have got a pension or you're in wealth management, your wealth management or your pension company are charging you a fee each year, and it might only be 0.5%, 1%, 1.5% to actually make sure that you invest that pension money in the right areas. So back on topic with paid traffic, having the professionals do this, then whilst there's a cost to do that, Damian, isn't there? But ultimately, getting it right, it'll keep your cost per click or your cost per conversion or your cost per retargeting or your cost per all that down, and ultimately over this with the right strategy, you're going to get a faster and more positive ROI with the experts guiding you. So get your strategy right, guys. There's plenty of resources you can do that. And when you go over to Blog Drop the Success Hub, myself and Damian have shared a resource on paid traffic that will help you get a better feel on setting your paid traffic strategy up. And obviously if you want to jump on a call with myself or Damian, you can book a consultation. We can do that and chat with you further from there. So strategy, super, super, super important, Damian, isn't it? And right at the outset.
Oh yeah. I think if you go into this blind, you're going to get burnt.
Yeah.
It's very important. I spend a lot of time with my clients trying to find out what their clients are worth to them. How much is a lead worth to them? Before we, put a penny to paid advertising, who is the customer? What's it worth to them? All this research, which is the part most businesses skip. They just want to, I want some leads, and a pound a click is great. And again, it's stuff you've got to track and measure. People think, cheap clicks are great, which they could be. I'm not saying they're not, but you've got to, wind back the thing and say, well, what is that? Is it great to get a pound click, or is it better to get a £5 click, which is going to make 500 quid, than a pound click, which only makes 50 quid?
Yeah.
So it's all
strategy
metrics and numbers and looking at it. So it's not just how cheap can I get traffic for? It's the quality of the traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think then you get into all sorts of things of congruency, traffic to adverts, to landing page, to all that type of stuff, which we'll cover in a more deep dive of this podcast when we get Damian back on, and we'll open it up into specific segments. Damian, I've absolutely loved having you on the show, and I've really got one other question that I think it needs to be addressed, and I think we get asked a lot on the strategy board when we do that, and I know you get this a lot. What type of pages should we be driving paid traffic to? And what I mean by pages is online pages on the site. Could you just talk around that a little bit and help the audience?
Yeah, a great question. It's become a lot tougher, or there's more policies in place by both Google and Facebook, so the sort of pages you can drive traffic to. Yeah. Google is still a lot more strict than Facebook as the time of recording this interview. But I do see that Facebook will become more and more stringent,
compliant with it.
So, great strategy with things like Facebook ads is to send people to a really good article. Yeah, and that could be a blog post where you're just pixeling people to show their intent and their interest. Which is
data segmentation to say, hey, I'm interested in this product or that product.
Yeah. If you're going to a more specific thing where you want to go to lead capture, i.e. get them to opt in for something, then you want to go to much more specifically designed pages that have got really one purpose in mind. So you wouldn't really send paid traffic to your homepage. No. Reason being, you've got 10 different buttons on it. People just get lost. Yeah. So you've got to have a page which is designed and congruent with your ads. So if it's get our report on how to do paid traffic or whatever, then you want to send a report which is congruent with that ad and gives them not a lot of opportunities to do anything else. Yeah. So again, you want the ad to be congruent with the landing page. Yeah. You need to follow the policies all the time that the provider. Very important. It changes on a daily, weekly basis. So one of the times I spend a lot of my time is looking at what the changes are, so we make sure that we're not breaking any policy violations, things like that, even with paid traffic. If you're trying to get someone to capture something, to capture data, them opt in, then you want a specifically designed page. Yeah.
So we're talking something like, and again, you'll hear in the digital marketing world as entrepreneurs things like squeeze pages, landing pages. The purpose of that, I get the long form sales letter page and I get the sideways sales letter page. We're big PLF Jeff Walker owners, and we practice that ourselves. However, whether it's the long form sales or the sideways sales letter that Jeff Walker does, however, what we're talking about here is a landing page, and what Damian covered earlier, and really please make sure you do a check on your landing pages, is that you really want them to do one or two things. Yeah, the ad's congruent to the landing page with its free report, it's a video series or whatever. But you want them to do two things, Damien, don't you? Sorry, one of two things. When they hit that page, you want them to either opt in and take the call to action that you want them to do, or they're going to leave. Now, there's things like exit intent technology that you can do to stop them leaving, or at least slow them down from leaving. But ultimately, what Damien was saying earlier, on a homepage or driving paid traffic to a website, there's the home, there's the contact us, there's the team, there's the solutions, there's this. There's so much stuff going off that they forgot about the advert where they've come from, and you're diluting your chances of getting that conversion, whether that's an opt-in, a download, a purchase, an enrollment, or a signal of intent. So, guys, simple thing, and Damien, we share stuff. We're very direct on this show. And we say right at the beginning, if people are offended by that, then it's probably not the show for you. But if you're driving paid traffic to a really fully blown out website, then you're going to be spending and wasting money left, right, and centre. Stop doing it. Stop driving paid traffic to websites. There is strategic or tactical pages that you might want to do on there if you've got something on. Get it to content for blogs. Help data segmentation. Get them to specific landing pages that are relevant to the adverts, and that obviously naturally full of benefit for the visitor of that page to be able to consume your content, get them segmented, and start following up with something like Infusionsoft or whatever in your marketing automation. So keep it focused, keep it right, and keep your customer or your visitor on track with your agenda. Don't give them the easy out button of a menu bar at the top or anything like that. And that's what we're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, well, nailed it, Mike. Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, well, I get it all the time where I get people saying, drive traffic to you get a website up and drive traffic to your website, and I'm sat there going, no, you know what I mean? You're just pouring money down the drain. And as I say, if you just employ that one strategy by diverting your traffic, your paid traffic to landing pages or blog content based on your conversion goal, you've got to see a significant increase in results, overnight. And what is this stats, Damien? Something, and don't quote us on this. This is just a loose banded figure, but about 46% better conversion on a landing page than a website or something like that. What are you seeing at the moment?
I'd say probably more. I don't know what the stats. So if you've got a very good landing page, you'd expect to pay a squeeze page, landing page, whatever you want to use, depending on the traffic. Is it warm or hot? Have they seen you before? You would expect conversion anywhere from 15% to 50%, depending on how warm that traffic. If you send them to your homepage, you're probably looking at 2-3% for them to get the actual what you want them to do. So
even at lowest average, that's a 12% variance between 2% or 3% and 15%. Think about what that does, what your spend budget is, and if you had a 13, 15 to 50% increase in conversions, and that's opt-in to grow your list, which should be part of your strategy anyway. One of your number one strategies should be list growth. Or you push into an online shop or a low or high medium ticket offer, feeling leads for your sales team sales funnel. What does 50% look like in your business? Write that number down, audience. Write it down, multiply it by your average sale price and obviously the net margin that you'd make, and then start thinking about what a correctly managed paid traffic solution can do for you. But the strategy, the congruency all needs to play a part. You just can't do that overnight and expect that result. So, there's a bit of an earnings disclaimer on that as well, but there's other things that contribute to that, guys. But, start thinking and, think about what you convert to. Think about, if I'm trying to talk to you about McDonald's and then I get you interested in McDonald's, then I open the door and it says Kentucky Fried Chicken inside. It's like, hey, what's going on here? I thought I was coming here for McDonald's, not Kentucky. So, keep it simple, keep it congruent, keep it relevant, and keep it focused and target, and stop driving traffic to your website in most cases, and you're going to get a lot better result, Damian, yeah?
That's it. Yeah, nailed it, Mike. Yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to wrap this podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. And like I say, if you do want to get more on this, you could head over to blog.thesuccesshub.uk. You could download the entire transcript that myself and Damien have got, and the diamond nuggets and awesome advice that Damien's put out here. Take it, practice it, apply it, learn it, study it, and also you can download the paid traffic strategy sort of template that we're going to put up there as well for you. So, Damian, to wrap the podcast, as I say, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think the content you've supplied is awesome. The knowledge that you've so kindly shared with the audience is fantastic. It's going to save them a lot of money. It's going to get them better returns. But if we were to wrap, and it's like a little bit like what we call the elevator pitch. You've got 60 seconds or a couple of minutes. If we were to give a few tips in a summary format. I'm starting with paid traffic. What are your top 3, top 5 tips that you'd want to give to our audience so they can really get a fast track and get better results with the paid traffic?
Okay. If you got any sort of doubts of doing paid traffic, the first thing I would do is put the pixels on your page. So you go to Google, you go to Facebook, you just install the pixels.
Yeah.
So you can start tracking the visitors which are visiting your site. So you don't even have to spend a penny advertising at this stage, but at least you're building up those audiences if you want to advertise later.
Awesome.
That's the first thing I would do with clients, even before we do anything, because if you're getting reasonable amount of traffic, those pixel numbers can build up. So you're building up potential targeting. Track everything, measure everything. The beauty of paid advertising is it does it for you. You don't have to get expensive software to do it. Most of the Google, Facebook, great metrics, data to show you what's working and what's not working. If you're not tracking traffic, you're going to lose very, very badly. Look at ways you can maximize not just getting people into your business, but the people who are already in your business to buy more, pay more. I think stats have been said, someone in your business is worth 7 times more than someone outside your business. So many businesses don't focus on that, and that's something I've been guilty of. I'm really now starting to focus on people who in my business, to look after them, to get them to buy more stuff, to love me, to give them great service. That's I would say one of the biggest points any business should do.
So it's like a closest to cash situation, Damian. I know it's a term that we band around in the Infusionsoft space, but you put in marketing automation in, and let's focus on getting you that quick return on investment back. So closest to cash. It's pointless shooting for the moon when there's somebody next door who can help you achieve stage 1 today type of thing. So there's a bit of that going there as well. So we've got, I get the pixels on, track and measure, really focus hard on customers. Anything else you'd want to wrap with on that, Damian? Whether that's around the client lifetime value or what the lead's worth and things like that.
I think, again, is one of those things. It's start to think about what that customer, what that lead is worth to your business. Really important, before you start doing any sort of paid traffic. Think about it, if you've got an existing business, you'll be able to do that, relatively easily. You could say, how many leads did we get in our business? How much sales have we generated? Divide it, and you're going to get how much, a sales worth. If you haven't, you're going to make some intelligent guesstimates, but a guesstimate's better than nothing. So version 1's better than version none, guys, is what Damian's saying there. Get something and then you should test and measure, and then that becomes more refined. Damian, I can't thank you enough. I think that the value and the time, we're super appreciative of what you've invested today. Audience, I hope your notebooks are full. I hope you've got some value that you can take back. As I say, you can get the resources at blog.thesuccesshub.uk. You can access it if you're listening online in the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. Just search CastHub and you can get this podcast recording there. Damian, on behalf of everybody here, as always, you fill us with valuable insights. We can't thank you enough. We really appreciate you coming on the show. And if anyone's got any questions, if they want to contact me through the blog, be happy to help.
Just post some comments on there and Damian will jump on there and get those answered for you. That's awesome. And that sort of wraps up episode 6 of the Cast Hub, which is paid traffic. Big thanks to Damian Qualter, the Success Hub's lead paid traffic specialist. Thanks, Damian. You're awesome as always. We look forward to tuning in next week, and we'll be talking more on digital marketing, Infusionsoft and business growth. Have an awesome week, guys. Go and crush it, do some hustle, and we'll catch up real soon. Thanks, Damian. All the best, buddy.
Cheers.
You have been listening to Cast Hub, brought to you by the Success Hub. To find out more and to get the resources we have mentioned in this podcast episode, simply visit blog.thesuccesshub.uk and view the podcast section. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to catching up with you in our next episode. This podcast and associated materials is published under copyright to The Success Hub. All rights reserved. No reproduction of this material is permitted.